9 years ago today, I started my conscious life creation journey, and whoa, has it been a journey. Whoa. And I remember the night as well. I remember the night that it started. I was scrolling through Facebook. It must have been about 1 or 2 in the morning. It was very late at night, and I'd been drinking wine that night, and during that time I drank wine heavily, sometimes a bottle a night. I would have these huge glasses that would fit half a bottle of wine in the glass. And I was scrolling through Facebook, and I came across this advert, and there were 4 people on the edge of an infinity pool, and I could see just their backs, and they were doing dabs like that, so just not their front, their back. And the advert said, "Are you looking to radically transform your financial future?" And when I saw it, I was like, fuck yes. I was in such a shit space financially, 32 grand's worth of debt, living paycheck to paycheck. I'd not long gotten out of a relationship that owed me half the debt, and now I was paying all of the bills for the flat that we lived together on my own. So I needed to shift, and I ended up watching this web class, and it was the very starting stages of the industry, the high ticket affiliate marketing industry. So the information that was available back then was completely different to what's available now, and also because the terrain and the consciousness and the leaders are completely different, things are shared very differently as well. And anyway, I invested I invested the whole of my savings, which was just £75, into a training platform that would teach me how to build an online business. So I joined, and then they upsold me the actual business, which is the water. And as I was watching the information about the water, I remember I was drinking a bottle of water because I wouldn't drink the tap water because I knew how shit the tap water was in the UK. And as I was drinking this bottled water, I remember I would get cases, like big 1.5-litre bottles, cases of water from Aldi, where I would shop. And I was drinking this bottle of water, and I was like, I don't even want to drink this anymore. Oh my gosh. But how the fuck am I going to start? Because I'm in the financial situation that I'm in, but I need to start because look at this career plan, and look at what's available, and the freedom that I can create, and everything that's available to me right here in front of me if I just move and do it. And so I decided to continue to move, even though I didn't know how the fuck I was going to make it happen. And this was in the July, and by October, after I'd been doing personal development and energy work and laying the foundations of my business, come October, I was like, I'm going to get a second job. Fuck this, because I can't get finance elsewhere. Like, my family are not going to help me because they don't believe in it. They think I'm nuts, and I can't get finance from the bank. So I'm going to get a second job so I can invest in this. And I did in the October, and then come December, I invested in my first machine, and the rest is history, should we say. I mean, there's a lot in the last 9 years that's happened. So much. But essentially, in the pursuit of money to create freedom, I ended up creating my freedom life within a year through frequency alone, because of the energetics work that I was doing with the laws of the universe, and reprogramming my mind and focusing on the feeling and the vibration and the frequency. So within a year, I started to live in my freedom because I got a redundancy from the bank that I worked for 6.5 years. And I haven't had a job since. I haven't had a job since 2018. And in 2020, I came here to Bali, and I've rooted here. I've been living in my heaven on earth since March 2020, and my life has continued to get better and better in this upward spiral because I've been fully focused on becoming a better version of myself in every area. And there's been periods of ups and downs and twists and turns and highs and lows, of course, because that's the nature of this journey. It's not linear. We go everywhere, and this is how we really get to know ourselves on a deep level. And I'm so grateful for every single bit and every single person, the good, the bad, the happy and the sad, especially the ones that caused me heartbreak, especially when things broke down, when I was essentially abandoned and ostracized and left to fend for myself within my leadership journey and my business journey. Because when I joined the business, I joined community. So community is a very, very big thing within my industry. However, for the last 2 years, I haven't worked with anyone from my community or my organization because I've had to really anchor into my style of leadership, because the leadership that I was surrounded by was really not healthy at all. And it was affecting how I was showing up, and the universe did the magic that it did so I could really anchor into myself through reflections of that past community, but also reflections within intimate relation, the physical community that I've got here, and within sisterhood, and really coming to know myself on a deep level and working through various different areas of my darkness and shadows and vices to become the woman that I am today, to be able to effectively lead this global movement that I'm now leading of true health, true freedom and sovereignty. The company that we partner with, Anagic, that create the best water technology in the world. Such phenomenal pieces of technology that where one investment, a one-time investment, gets you this phenomenal piece of technology that lasts 25 plus years. The longest known machine to last is 40 years. And we can use these machines for over 100 things in the home. It doesn't just give us the best drinking water, which is very imperative for us to drink. I truly believe that drinking this water allows us to come back to our crystalline energy and our light body because of the way that it works with our body and our mind. Because when our body and our mind is clear, that's when we can connect to our soul and ultimately source power and our limitless knowing. And the water, the brand name of the water that our technology creates is Kangen. And Kangen in Japanese, which is where our company originates from and where all of our machines are made, Kangen means return to origin. And what I get from that is return to source, because that's where we came from. We came from love, which comes from source. And throughout this 9-year journey of not only drinking this water continuously, bar like 3 months when I went traveling, which was the worst choice that I could have made. Oh my God, never again am I traveling without the water. Throughout this 9-year period of drinking this water and walking this path of self-leadership into leadership in the creation of the reality, the conscious creation of the reality that I desire in every area, not just money, but every area, the safety, the security, the love, the nourishment, the acceptance, the kindness, all of it. Through doing that, I have become the happiest, healthiest, strongest, most convicted version of myself that I have ever been, and the wealthiest as well. My external reality is such a beautiful experience. And by no means am I right now in this very moment where I consciously want to be on the money scale, by no means. However, through this journey, I've realized in the pursuit of money that it's so much more than money. And this is why I've created the wealth frequency shift in the way that I have. Because for me, yes, it's about building a really solid and strong business. Yes, it's about learning how to effectively build our business on social media that comes from our heart and from integrity, that creates community. Yes, but it's so much more than that, because there's no point in having all of this money if we're not building a business that's true to us, if we're not building a business that sets our soul on fire and that lights us up. And not everyone wants to build a business continuously talking about water or continuously talking about online business. I know I don't. So the way that I've created the wealth frequency shift is in a way where it teaches you, my tribe, to build this business in a way that really meets you and your own personal design, whilst also giving you all of the mentorship and guidance to consciously create your life in every single area of your life, in your relationships, in your community, and first and foremost, most importantly, within yourself, within your own personal power, in loving yourself, in being so confident and convicted within yourself and your inner knowing, and all of the yummy things to just create so much strength and internal happiness. And this is where my mission comes in, because the mission of Enagic, the company that we partner with, that offers these amazing pieces of technology that really allows us to transform ourselves from the inside out through the simple switch of water and bring our body back to its most powerful version of self. The mission of Enagic is true health. And with the career plan that it brings us, and this is what sold me. This is what sold me, is when I saw the career plan, like I said earlier, because the career plan, it's a 500-year career plan that we can quite literally will to our children. And we can build our organizations in such a way where it not only sets us up for life, but it sets our families up for life. And through us doing that, it also sets other families up for life, because of the duplication that happens and because of the impact that we make through sharing everything that we learn. And the mission of Enagic is true health. And through the journey that I've walked personally, I've added true freedom and sovereignty into that mix. So it's true health, true freedom and sovereignty, which everyone wants and everyone is dreaming about, even if they don't even realize that they are. I didn't even realize that I fucking needed this journey when I started. I had no idea. Because I didn't know any different. You know, I was working for the bank and I was studying to be an accountant, and I had my own place, I had my own car. I wasn't in a great space. I didn't even know that I wasn't in a great space. I just knew that I wanted more money so I could enjoy myself, because I was 25 and a half, and after all of my bills were paid, I had like £20 left for the month to be able to enjoy myself. Abhorrent, absolutely abhorrent. And I just started because of the money for the freedom, and then ultimately I realized, wow, it's so much more than money, so much more than money. And it's been a really interesting journey, because in the pursuit of money, I've created a wealth frequency life without the money that I thought that I needed. And it's been a really beautiful experience, and so many beautiful reflections have come from it. And through the reflections that life has given me, it's really enabled me to alchemize and transmute some very deep wounding within me that has been programmed and conditioned into me through my own story, but also that I've inherited from my familial line and from my ancestors. There's some very deep woundings to do with money and lack and scarcity and fear within my familial line, and it's the same for everyone, but in their own unique way. You know, we've all got our own style of mother wound. We've all got our own style of father wounds, of familial wounds with our siblings, and of course our own style of ancestral wounding when it comes to money. Most of the time it links back to feelings of not feeling worthy and not feeling good enough, and feelings of guilt and feelings of shame. But those are rooted in different areas for different meanings, and this is why it's really important to really get to know ourselves on a deep level so we can alchemize and transmute all of this, which is why I infuse these teachings within my work and my mentorship and coaching. When you join me on the mission and when you choose to become a business partner with me and an ally with me in this mission, this global mission of true health, true freedom and sovereignty. And I am so grateful. I am so grateful for everything that I've been able to create. Not just on, I haven't done it on my own either. I've done it with so much support. I've had so much support around me, most importantly from the Most High, from the mystic law, from my ancestors, from my angels, from my guides. And as I have stayed true and rooted in my spiritual faith and belief and practice, that's when the magic has continued to happen. And I remember when I first started my journey, this was when I was introduced to spirituality. The first 2 books that I read introduced me to the laws of the universe, and then I started playing. Because before I started my journey, I was I was atheist for a long time. And then I said to myself, I'm agnostic because there's obviously a higher power. I just don't give a shit, and I can't be asked to, I just don't care. This was the mindset that I had. I was very, very deep within the illusion and the matrix. I didn't care. I didn't care what I was putting in my body. I didn't care about myself. I didn't care that I was being surveillanced by the agenda. I didn't care about any of it. And then once I started to learn about energy and the laws of the universe, the law of attraction, the law of vibration, the law of cause and effect, I started to play with this information because I'm very childlike. Not childish, completely different things. I'm very childlike. It's just natural within me. It's a natural thing for reflectors. We're very childlike. And it actually says in scripture, it's the children that are gonna, it's the children that will get through the gates of heaven, something like that. So we must learn to go back to our childlike ways. And I truly believe it's this approach and this wonder and this awe and this playfulness and this imagination, this has played a really huge part in how supported and protected that I've been on the journey. Because for the first 3 years, I made a little bit of money through my business, but not enough money to live. And like I said, within a year, I was made redundant. So I received a nice little payout to last me for around a year. Yeah, it was about a year. And then my money was dwindling and I was like, well, I need to do something. I need to switch. And then I decided to move to another community because when I zoomed out and looked at everything, because there's always a variable as to why things are not working, right? So I zoomed out and looked at everything, and I was doing everything right. I was moving. I was getting I had the connections. The brand was growing, even when personal branding wasn't even a thing. My videos were going viral, and people were joining the community that I was in. However, when they were upsold to Enagic, they didn't end up investing because they didn't align with the other leadership. They aligned with me and not them. And by then I was in my leadership, but I wasn't fully owning my leadership in that sense. And my whole 9-year journey has been it's been a culmination of really owning my leadership, and which is why over the last 2 years I haven't been working with anyone, because I've really been pushed to the edge to really own my leadership and my own style and why I came here. And so after I moved communities, and I didn't know how I was going to reinvest, because back at the time, the way that the industry was, I wasn't able to move to another community and work with them unless I reinvested in restarting my business. So I was like, I'll figure it out. I don't know how. I don't know where I'm going to get the money. Don't know. I was just like, if I have to get a job, I'll get a job. I don't know, whatever. And so I moved in the September 2019, and then I found out in the December that I was getting an inheritance from an aunt that I didn't even have a relationship with. I saw her once a year, and because of family politics we didn't really see her much, and she ended up leaving all of her nieces and nephews money. Didn't even realize that she had money. Didn't even realize. And that enabled me to restart my business. And I'm so grateful to her, because if it wasn't for her, I wouldn't be where I am today. If it wasn't for any of my family, I wouldn't be where I am today. And I stayed true to myself. I stayed true to the vision and to the mission and to creating better for myself. So of course the money came, because it always comes, because the universe is our bank account. And so I restarted my business. I ended up going traveling in the December for 3 months. That's when I didn't take my machine. And I had to come back to the UK because I ordered my new products to get my business started in the March. No, I came back in the February. And then in the March, I left and came here to Bali. And within 2 months, I made my 5-figure investment back that I made to restart my business. Within 6 months, I made more than I would have done in a year at the bank. And over the next 4 years, my business was moving and funding the lifestyle that I desired. And through those 4 years, between 2020 to 2024, I went through some really deep leadership lessons. Because in 2020, I was just catapulted into leadership. My business grew phenomenally. Whoa, I'm like, where did all this come from? Because I was aligned and rooted and in it, and just, it was great. Life is amazing. And then through that, because I was still operating at a frequency that was still rooted and controlled by my ego, of course there were people around that were attracted to my field that were reflecting that, and I needed some really deep leadership lessons to knock my ego down to root into my heart. And mid 2023 I ended up meeting a counterpart that would teach me some very deep lessons in respects to my own conviction and my own power. And at the end of 2024, my organisation dissolved, and that was the second time my organisation dissolved. The first time my organisation dissolved, I believe it was in 2022, and it was very toxic. And this was when I started to set boundaries, and because I started to set boundaries, the people that I was setting boundaries with didn't like it, and yeah, it was a fucking shit show. But I held myself and I stood strong, and from that reflection, I was doing everything that I could to clean up my communication, because just like all of us, we haven't been taught how to effectively communicate. Well, not all of us, the majority of us. So that was a really huge part of my journey, was really learning how to effectively communicate, so I communicate from here, and so it can meet your heart as well, and anyone else's heart too. Typically we're communicating from our ego, and we're communicating in a violent way, an aggressive way. And what do I mean by that? I mean, you did this, you did that, rather than taking full ownership and accountability for ourselves and our own experience. So yeah, I had to work through that. And then the second time my organisation dissolved, that it was much healthier. It was beautiful dissolution in some aspects. I mean, there was one aspect that was just a bit icky that I felt from the other person. But hey ho, it is what it is. We all make the choices and get the lessons that we need based on where we're at. And so after that, my heart was broken. My heart was broken. So much so that I went deep into my cave when it came to my leadership journey. And yeah, I was showing up, but I was showing up vanilla because of how much I'd been hurt. And since I got to Bali in 2020, I'd been on a really, really deep self-actualization journey to really strengthen the relationship that I had with myself. So essentially I would stop abandoning myself in all of the ways, whether it be with people or with myself. And I created a healthy relationship with alcohol. I didn't drink alcohol for a year and a half from May 2023. And then after that, I started to slowly kind of see what my relationship was like with it. And yeah, now I mean, I could take it or leave it. I haven't drank alcohol since November last year, November 2025. And I don't really want to, because I'm just not on that feeling and that frequency anymore. So yeah, it's been a very interesting journey with that, because yeah, people could say I was addicted, but I don't like to put that label on things, because then again, that gives our power away. And I believe we have the power to master everything, master ourselves and master substances and whatever. It's simply a case of really sitting with ourselves and looking at the relationship that we have with ourselves, and also the relationship that we have with whatever vice it is that we have. Because the way that I see life is, we came here to enjoy it in every aspect. And if we want to have a drink, we want to have a drink, but we don't want the drink to control us, yeah? So this is the mindset that I have, and this is the journey that I went on with that. And also, this is the journey that I've been on with any kind of narcotic, should we say, because when I was in London, I was very deep in that. You know, I was taking ecstasy and cocaine and ketamine and whatever. And it's been a really beautiful unfolding and upward spiral and unraveling of letting go of the darkness that wanted to cling to that and escape in that, because I wasn't at a capacity to be able to truly face myself and my pain. And the deeper I've dived into the depths of my darkness and faced my pain and turned that into power, I have no desire to do this. I'm high on life. I love life. I go to a party and I drink tea, and I feel so safe within myself and my expression that I can dance on the dance floor without any alcohol, and I couldn't give a fuck what people think of me. And me being able to do that hasn't come easy. I've had to continually push myself out of my comfort zone, especially when I stopped drinking as well. So I would take myself to the places that I would go and normally drink, and I would dance without alcohol. I'd be the first one on the dance floor, even though I was scared. And I would put myself on the open mic, even though I was scared, without any alcohol. I could do it easily with alcohol, but without alcohol, different story. So for me to be able to build up that power, because I was essentially outsourcing my power to alcohol. So for me to be able to build up that power, I had to place myself in the same situations without it. And this is the journey that I went on. And it's been incremental. It's a marathon, it's not a race. But through that reflection of looking at my relationship with alcohol, and also with everything else, every other vice that I've had, whether it be food, doom scrolling, whatever it may be, I've been able to understand why I was outsourcing my power, and then what I had to do to strengthen my power and to come back to myself. And this has been the journey that I've been on over the last 9 years, is very deep reflection of myself, my story, my understanding, through the reflection that life has held up for me, the mirror of life has held up for me. And so yeah, after my organisation, I'm gonna have some tea. After my organisation dissolved the second time, that's when I was like, and the reason that it dissolved the second time was because I reclaimed my power and my worth and my value, because I was giving away my life's work for free. And the people in my organisation, they were benefiting off it in the relational scale, in their self-actualization, but they weren't building their businesses and they weren't showing up for their businesses. So I wasn't getting remunerated for anything. And I have bills to pay, you know, we've got to fucking live our lives. So then I shared with them that to have access to all of the curriculum that I've created, and there is so much curriculum. You are so supported when you join my world. To have access to the curriculum, there's a monthly subscription. Now back then, there was only one monthly subscription. However, now there's 4 tiers, and there's actually 6 choices, because the first tier, initiation, that's a pay what you can scale, because I really don't want to limit someone or cut someone off just because of where they're at financially, because I remember where I was. And the important thing is that you at least get yourself in the door, so you get to choose what feels right for you as to where you're at and what it is that you need. But back then I only introduced one. And yeah, the people that I was working with chose not to stay, and that was great. You know, it was a nice, it was data. It was great data for me. And ultimately my heart was broke, because anyone that I work with, I fucking love to pieces. I see the potentiality in everyone. However, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink, right? So after that heartbreak, that second round of heartbreak, I went deeper into my cave, and this intimate counterpart that I'd recently gotten with in mid-2023, my energy and my power leaped to him as well. And ultimately we were in a dance for about 2.5 years. And it was only after I got out of that and I cut things off in the November 2011, it was actually the June 2024 that I realized that he was quite manipulative. But in the November, and then we had a break, like a year, and then he came, or less than a year, and then he came back into my life. And this was when my power was starting to come back. He came into my life, which is interesting because the universe always gives us these tests, right? It's all tests, it's all lessons, and I'm very grateful for all of it because my standards are higher than ever before now. In every area, not just with intimate relations, but with friends and community and the people that I choose to surround myself with, because of what I've experienced throughout this whole journey with any and all relation. And yeah, since November 2025, that's when I cut him out. And through self-reflection, I'm pretty sure that he's a covert narcissist, which is very interesting because I've come from emotional and narcissistic abuse. However, he was the healthiest disguise that I've ever experienced, because normally it's been very toxic and very like arrogant and whereas this one was very covert, and the communication was very healthy. It was healthy and kind, but it wasn't very nice, and would jab me, but it would be disguised as kindness and care. But yeah, it stifled my personal self-expression and my way of being, and he essentially wanted to mold me into what he wanted me to be, to make him feel better, because the reflection that I was showing him was making him feel inadequate because he wasn't standing in his power and he wasn't being true to himself. And so he was doing it unconsciously. This is what they do. And this is the thing as well, is empaths, which is what I am. I'm a very strong empath. I'm a 5/1 reflector. So we're the strongest reflectors are. And the lessons that empaths go through are with the narcissist, which is the counterpart, until they really strengthen themselves to have a reflection. Once they come back to their own divinity, then they get the reflection of the divine counterpart. But because I could see the potential in him, I saw his divinity and I overlooked all of the red flags, which ultimately allowed my energy to leak. And since November, I've been really focusing and working on myself and my vision and my mission and my passions and my purpose even more so, which has been, again, a beautiful unraveling and a realization of what that was and also what it is that I need to do. And since February this year, I've been going through a very, very huge initiation with my finances because over the 2 years that I wasn't working with my organization, there wasn't enough money coming in from my business that enabled me to live effectively in the way that I love to live. And so out of the blue, and again, frequency work, couldn't have even consciously comprehended that this would happen, but out of the blue, bank finance was made available to me. And I'd been on debt management with the previous bank finance that I'd been with because I couldn't pay it off. And I mean, I could have started to pay it off more with the money that I was getting from my business between 2020 and 2024. But I didn't want to because I wasn't in a place where I wanted to. I was focused on my quality of life, and I realized that bank finance is just it's all a fucking scam, and they can get their money back as and when and on my timeline. What are they going to do to me if I don't pay them? You know what? They're going to put a mark on my credit history. Oh, whoop-de-fucking-do. I couldn't give a shit, right? So I was just paying like £20 a month for my debt management, and then bank finance opened up to me. So of course I was going to take it, because for me, there's no plan B. Like, getting a job is not an option for me. And it's not that I don't want to get a job. I mean, I worked 9 to 5 for a bank, and then I got an extra job as a pizza delivery girl to be able to invest in my business. So it's not like I'm adverse to working. I'm a very hard worker. However, once you start this journey, this new earth, bridge builder, leader journey and this spiritual awakening journey, and especially when you haven't had a job for so long, it's like, no, that's not an option for me. And also I kept checking in with my body. Do I need to get a job? Do I need to get a job? And my body was like, no, you don't. You're cool. Just keep doing what you're doing. Keep following your guidance. You're cool. You're going to be abundantly provided for. And so I have been. And since the start of this year, because the money ran out, I'm like, fuck, what am I gonna do? Oh my god! So yeah, I've been going through this huge initiation since February, and yeah, my mother's an absolute diamond because she supported me financially, and I have a brother within my community that's lent me some money as well, that's really supported me. And yeah, money's come from other sources too that I couldn't have even consciously comprehended, that I don't even need to pay back. And it's given me the space to really anchor in. I'm so grateful. I'm getting emotional because of how grateful I am and how supported and provided for that I've been. Because it's not been easy sharing where I'm at and asking for support, because I'm used to doing everything on my own. I've got 5 planets in Capricorn. My North Node's in Capricorn, so there's a lot of, I'm a very ambitious hard worker, do it on my own. I've also got 3 planets in Aquarius as well. So this initiation has been really huge for me in letting go of the shame around the money story that I've had, because consciously in my mind it's like, you should be here, you're seeing people in your industry have 5-figure months, multiple 5-figure months, sometimes even 6-figure months. You should be there, you've been on this journey for so long. I've had all of that. And then all of the projections that I felt from my family, I felt it. They didn't say anything to me, but I felt it. I'm very intuitive when it comes to this. And then at the end of May, when I got really vulnerable and shared my financial situation with my mum, she confirmed everything that I thought that my family thought about me. And some of the things that she said to me were just disgusting, absolutely disgusting. But she supported me financially. So this is a fucking paradox. And I know it had to get to this point for that to be illuminated, for the next level stage of healing that I've had to do in raising my standards and setting my boundaries and protecting my energy. Because off of the back of that, and I'm so grateful to her, I love her, so I love my family, all of my family so much. And everything that I do for my family, even if it might not seem that way because I haven't seen them in 6 years. This internal work that I'm doing is to break the chains that the agenda has put on my lineage and on my family. So it ends with me. And it's heartbreaking because I haven't seen them, I haven't had a relationship with them. They don't even know who I am. They just have this story about me because they don't know me, because they haven't taken the time to get to know me. They haven't asked me questions. They don't even know what I do. They just think I sell water machines. Which is a huge part of the mission, but that's not what it is that I do. It's so much more than that. It's so deeper than that.
And so I experienced that, and that's been illuminated. And I've known that there's been normalized and accepted toxicity and trauma and unhealthy ways of being and limitations and illusions within my family. And this is why I've distanced myself from them since before I started my business journey. I lived in my flat for maybe about 2 years, so I was distanced from them for about 2 years before I started my business journey. And again, that was divine protection, because as a reflector, if we're around toxic environments, it makes us sick. And I was sick, I was depressed, and I was anxious. And my depression started since I was about 14. And yeah, there were issues at school, but also the home environment wasn't great. And it's not that my family aren't great, because they are great. My family are so loyal, they're so amazing. And, you know, we have family get-togethers, but there's, I would say, subtle abuse in the sense of taking the piss out of one another, name calling, and especially me, I got it quite a lot, and it really hurt. And I'm really sensitive, and they just didn't care, or they just didn't have the capacity. And so that was a lot for me growing up. And so being in that environment, it wasn't good for me. It wasn't good for my energy. And yeah, I was so protected in the sense that a sister that I used to work with in the bank at Christmas, she said to me, just apply in the government for like housing, to see if you can move out of your home, because I was expressing how unhappy I was at home. And I applied and I got it. I'm like, what? I didn't even realise that I'd get it, because I worked for the bank. I thought, well, they're not going to give me anything. But they did. And I ended up getting my own flat on subsidised, discounted housing. So, and I realised this the other day, that's when the protection really started. And I've been so guided and protected on this journey, and I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful. And this initiation that I've been through in my finances since February has really allowed me to let go of shame around the money story that I've moved through, because yeah, I carried so much shame for the fact that I got into more, well, I was proud of my choices, but there was also shame attached to it because of the conditioning and the programming and the familial shit. And, you know, because just like the rest of the world, my family only view success really as money and status, and that's it. Literally, I was told in these aren't the exact words, but I was told that I wasn't worthy because I wasn't making enough money in my business. I haven't been making enough money in my business over the last 2 years. Literally, I was told that. And so I've been dealing with a lot in respects to that, letting go of shame, and then also letting go of fear of sharing where I'm at. And I've been doing that incrementally. And this is why I started this vlog as well, because not only is this therapeutic for me, I know me sharing this and you listening is going to be beneficial for you, because you're going to be able to connect with it, right? Because we're all going through this in our own unique way. And looking back on the stagnancy in my business over the last 2 years, and by the way, I've sales have started to come through, which is fantastic. So now things are aligning, which is great. However, over the last 2 years, as I was showing up on social media, I wasn't sharing my story. And this is how you connect to me. This is how you know you want to work with me, because you can feel and sense the humanity in me. And I do this for me, yes, but I also do this for you, because if I can do it, you can do it too. And it's really, really, really important that we support each other on this journey. My hair is fucking whack today. Put some oil in it. Because we get to support each other through this. We can't do it alone. We can't do it alone. And so many of us are trying to do it alone, and that's not the way. It's really not the way. So yeah, it's been a fucking journey these last 9 years. Fuck. I mean, there's more to it, but those are the things that are really coming up for me right now. Those are the things that are really coming up for me, and I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful for all of it. Even the bits that have caused such heavy grief and so many emotions. And I know that things are going to be all right with my family eventually. I just need to meet their standards financially for them to be able to see me. It doesn't matter the whole fucking transformation that I've been on over the last 9 years, coming up from my rock bottom, depression, anxiety. I was 3 dress sizes bigger. I was toxic and unhealthy as fuck. The way I communicated was horrible. All of the things, like, I'm a completely different person in the best way possible, but they can't see that. They can't see that because of my financial struggles. There's no respect. It's fucking hilarious. It's so funny. But it's alright. It's alright, because I know where I'm going and I know what I'm doing. They don't need to understand. They don't need to get it. I just need to distance myself until they do get it through the receipts. And I mean, the receipts were there. Like I said, for 2020 to 2024, the receipts were there, but apparently that's not good enough yet because it's not fully consistent, which is okay. It's okay. It's becoming consistent. So yeah, I'm in celebration for this 9-year journey, and it's interesting because it started on 7/7, the 7/7 portal. This is when it started, and now it's been a 9-year cycle. So numerology wise, that's phenomenal. And I'm on my year 4 in numerology now as well. So it's a beautiful year. And I'm a couple of chapters ahead of the rest of the world when it comes to the numerology of the world. So I'm in such a perfect space, and I've laid so many amazing foundations to be able to support my tribe. And that's what I've been doing over the last 2 years. Like, even though I haven't been working directly with anyone, I've been working on the curriculum and the ecosystems and the foundations as to how to support them in a way that not only benefits me, not only benefits them, but also benefits me, because it's got to benefit all of us, right? It's got to be reciprocal. I've got to feel good, you've got to feel good. We've both got to have energy flowing, reciprocation, symbiosis. And through my leadership journey, when I was working with people, it didn't feel reciprocal. I felt extracted from, and I felt unappreciated and disrespected. And that was because I was unappreciating and disrespecting myself, and I was overgiving and I was people pleasing. So it was beautiful mirrors that were held back at me through the discordance and disharmony that I was feeling within myself. So yeah, the whole process over the last 2 years has really enabled me to not only strengthen the foundations within myself through the reflections of community and sisterhood, intimate relations, my family, and really strengthening myself and my conviction, but also strengthening the foundations within the online platforms and the systems that I've created, so my tribe can leverage that and utilize that for duplication and scalability. Because when you do join me on the mission, you get everything that you need. You get all of the training, all of the resource, all of the tools, all of the systems. I give you the landing pages, all of that, until you're ready to make your own. And I give you all of the training and the support to do that anyway. So yeah, I've had to do this on my own because I haven't had the resource to hire people to do it. So I've been on this spiritual awakening journey. I've been on this healing journey. My hair. I've been on this spiritual awakening journey, this healing journey. With that comes a lot of rest, especially as a reflector. Then I've had to build all the systems. I've had to learn. I've had to implement. I've had to wear all the fucking hats. And I'm done. We're doing it on my own now. So I'm calling in tribe. Come. If I can do it, you can do it too. And I went on my own so you don't have to. And I'm so grateful to the Most High for giving me the strength and the tenacity and the faith and the belief to be able to do this. And this is also really important, is the faith and the belief. Believe you can and you're halfway there. That's the first start, but having full faith in it. Because I had faith in the universe at the start, and then come 2024, my faith was dwindling because of all of the hardships that I'd been through. And then a sister introduced me to Nichiren Buddhism, Nam-myoho Renge Kyo, maybe you've heard of it. So since then, I've been chanting every day, and I've had so much support and so much magic because I started chanting and I started to incorporate a daily spiritual practice into my life again. And this is really, really important. However you choose to connect to infinite intelligence, source, the mystic law, God, Allah, however you connect to it, do it and have a daily practice every single day to connect to your limitless source power, because you're so protected, you're so supported, you're so guided when you tune and tap in. So yeah, that's been my journey over the last 9 years, pretty much. What a fucking journey. Wow. And now I'm at this stage of, all right, tribe, come, let's go. Let's make magic. I've done it before. I can do it again. The last time I did it, I was leaning into leadership and community that were misaligned because I didn't trust in myself and my leadership enough. The last 2 years has really anchored me into that, in trusting myself and my power and my leadership, because my leadership is very different to the rest, just simply because of my design. Being a 5-1 reflector with the gate of friction, I'm a trifecta of activations. So because of this, I've had to really shift my messaging to really call in the people that are aligned with me, because when working with me, it's a very beautiful, clear reflection of where you still need to integrate your shadow, where you're not showing up for yourself, and what your highest possibility is. And I'm here to completely celebrate you and uplift you and support you in all of the ways so you can create your highest version of self and step into your highest timeline, because this is what we came here to do. This is how we're creating the new world and the new earth together. So if you feel called and when you're ready, I'm here. The links are going to be below. And yeah, is there anything else that I want to say? No, there's nothing else that I want to say. Thank you so much for being here on this journey, and let me know in the comments if anything came up for you or if you want to share anything. I would love to hear. And yeah, I hope you have a wonderful day. Take care.